Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a 0 to 100 makeup tutorial. So I'm going to be going from this to this. Yes, and I love this eyeshadow look. It is inspired by P. Louise on Instagram. Start off doing the brows. I use my Benefit Brow Contour Pro. I love this. This is actually really good. It's got a weird consistency. It's like chalky and pomade mixed together, but it's lovely. It fills in the brows really nicely. And it has different colours on this little pen thing. So I use the darkest colour to fill in my tail, and then I just go in with a slightly lighter colour for the front bit, and then I take my spoolie. This is just a NYX brow pen thing, so I just take the spoolie on that and just distribute the products through my brows and then brush it up into the tail. I prefer the front bit to be faded, that's just how I like it. Taking my NARS Complete Concealer, I take the shade Almond, and I just use a flat, this is just a flat concealer brush. It's from Vanity Planet. It's from their makeup brush set. And I just clean underneath my brows. All the products I'm using and all the brushes will all be linked in the description bar below. I take the Eyes 200 brush from Kiko. I just use this to blend out the concealer around the brows. I like to use Almond. I've still got my tan slightly from holiday, and I like to use Almond because it's the closest to my skin tone. So there's no halo brows. Taking my Too Faced concealer, this is in the shade Warm Sand, and I use this to prep my eyes for eyeshadow. It's a lighter colour, so it works perfectly as an eyeshadow primer, and I love using concealers to prime because they work just as well and they're just multi-purpose. You don't have to buy a whole new primer. Taking my Be Perfect Carnival palette with Stacey Marie, again another Instagram artist. I just go in with this orange shade. So this shade actually comes out deeper on my skin tone when I put it on my eyes. It comes out more of like a deep red, and I apply that using my Zoeva 227, and I do that on the other side as well. I love this brush because it works really well for packing on colour, but it's also a really nice one for blending out. You will find that because you have hooded eyes, you don't already have the contours that other people with deep set eyes have, so you have to create the contours. This is why I like using this tiny little detailer brush. This one is from Luxie, and I just use it as an indicator for how far I want to take this first stage. So you're kind of building yourself a crease. I take this purple shade, and again, because I've already put that indicator down, I know how far up I want to take this colour. So I start by packing it so most of the colour goes on the lid. Be careful not to take too much, because if you blend up too quickly, you're going to have too much colour on the crease. So you want to pack the colour on first and have most of it up, and then whatever's left over on the brush, you start using circular motions to blend it up towards the brow bone. And if you start with less product and build up, it's a lot easier that way, so less is more. If you go in all guns blazing, it's going to be just a mess, because then you have to go in with concealer and take off. It's just easier if you start with less product. So I'm swapping between my Luxie brush and my 227. I use the 227 to pack the colour on and start blending, and I use the Luxie brush to really go in and blend out that outer corner at the outer edge of the eyeshadow. This look is super colourful, so having these nice detailer brushes will just really help you blend between stages. I just filmed the whole voiceover, took all the brushes upstairs, and then realised that there was no audio, so I had to do it again. So I'll leave all the brushes linked down below in the order in which I used them. You will lose some intensity as you blend out, so just pack the colour on, blend it out until you're happy with the intensity. And then taking my NYX Jumbo in the pot form, again tiny detailer brush to help me carve out, as we are doing a half cut crease today. And I love a tiny detailer brush because if you have small eyes like me, it just helps you really get the right shape that you want and makes it super neat as well. Don't panic too much if the two eyes aren't even. As a guide, I like to use the edge of the iris. But as I said, don't panic too much if you find that you can't get it perfect, because we're going to go in and blend and build colour anyway. So it's just a nice guide to know where you want to add the next colours coming up. Next, I'm taking the deepest shade in the palette, which unfortunately is not a black. And I just take this pencil brush from Morphe, and I use that to start fading in the outside. So as you're packing on colour on the outside, make sure you have a nice tiny detailer brush on deck, just to help you fade in one colour into the other. If you do it step by step, it just makes them look a lot more blended, come together a lot nicer. And then taking this tiny little pencil, this is even tinier than a pencil brush from Morphe, I take this turquoisey colour and I start packing that onto the lid. I love this brush because it just applies the colour so pigmented and so precise. It's beautiful. And now I start to build up the crease, so the cut crease aspect of this look. I take my Morphe M506, I believe, 506 or 507, I interchange between the two, and I take the purple shade and I just go in on the exact line of demarcation between the blue and the purple, and I just deepen that line up a little bit, and then using my Luxie brush to blend it out. I think this is one of those looks you might have to practice a couple of times. I have tried doing looks like this in the past with different brushes, and I find detailer brushes are what really bring this look together. For lashes today, I use the Morphe Chummy. And now moving on to the base, I take my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I love this. I've been loving using this, even as you can see, I'm nearly out of it. Using this more for primer. It just helps everything going so smooth, and everything just blends in like butter. It's gorgeous. I take my Zoeva foundation brush. This might even be a buffer brush, just to really go in and blend it out. As I have long nails, it just helps having a brush to do all the hard work for me. I'm doing a lot of dancing. I was feeling the music. Foundation combo today has been a current favourite. It's the Too Faced Born This Way in Chai, and I mix this with the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop in Warm Honey. Two absolutely gorgeous foundations that come together to give you the most beautiful base. And I'm using the flat top kabuki brush from Luxie to blend this in, and it does such a beautiful job at doing just that. Look at the way the product just melts into the skin. It is so beautiful. And I like using stippling motions because it gives me the most coverage. For concealer, I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way. The concealer I use to prime my eyes, but I'm using it in Butterscotch for underneath my eyes. I used it in Warm Sand to prime for eyeshadow. And I take my Sapphire Beauty Blender just to blend this in. I really take my time. I love the process of blending in concealer because I like it to melt into the foundation, which is why I go in with my foundation brush just to really make sure that it's melted in nicely and there's no weird harsh lines. This is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in Blondie. With this powder, I like to specifically just set the inside close to my nose because I later go on to liquid highlights. So if I take it any further, it's just going to be a mess. So I keep it very tight. Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in C16. We're going to use this bad boy to contour all the usual places. Cheekbones, forehead, nose, chin, bridge of the nose, and we blend it in as always with our Morphe M439. Amazing. I love this brush for blending in contour. It does such a beautiful job, and I like to use like the perimeter of the brush as opposed to using it flat. I find that using it on this side gives me a lot more control over where the contour is blending into, and then take it down my neck as well, just so there's no crazy lines. If you're not comfortable using a big brush to blend out your nose contour, just use a sponge. Bare Minerals Bare Pro Powder Foundation in Truffle. This makes for a really beautiful contour shade. Because it is a foundation, the blendability is gorgeous. So I just take my Smashbox, I believe this is just a buffer brush, and I use this to just circular motions, define the cheekbones, and it just melts into the skin. So beautiful. As I said, because it's a foundation, the blendability is already there and it just sinks in beautifully. And then taking the E3 from Morphe, I use this to really go in and define that nose contour. Liquid Gold from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I believe this is in the shade bronze or gold. I don't know. I'll leave the colour down below, but it's like the goldeny one. And I apply this to the back of my hand and then mix it all together with my brush, with my sponge, and then stipple it onto my face. I do not apply it directly to my face, so this way I have again more control over the product. I can move it where I want, and I also rotate my sponge, so I use different sides of the sponge. Otherwise I find that I'm already going over the top because I love a good highlight. If I don't use other sides of the sponge, I end up putting too much on. So by using cleaner sides, it just gives me, again, as I said, good control over where that product is going. And then going back in with the brush that I used to blend out my contour. No product, just to help me blend that through. Using my CoverGirl Ebony Queen Collection bronzer and my powder brush from Morphe, I just go in and bronze up my face. Just make sure the contour, the highlight is all married together very nicely. Revolution Pro Highlighting Palette using my Sigma tapered F something tapered brush from Sigma. A classic oldie but a goodie. and then blending that through again with the clean brush. I don't usually show the waterline, but you guys have definitely been requesting to see it. So I just take my Inglot 77 gel liner. Love this gel liner. I haven't used it in so long and I've missed it. I got a new one recently, so I just use that to run that into my waterline. And then taking the deeper shade in the palette once again with the smudge brush from Morphe, and I just go in and really tight up that colour as close to waterline as possible on both eyes. And then I switch over to my Morphe, either M506 or M507. They're very, very similar, and I use this to blend that colour out. If you put the product right on the tip, it's all about control. It gives you better control over where the product is going, as opposed to if you swirl your brush all through it, you'll just have product going everywhere, really. Wiping up my lips to prep for lips. NYX dominates the lip game for me, so I'm using their new suede liner in Cold Brew to line my lips. I actually prefer espresso. It's a bit more of a chocolatey colour, but Cold Brew is also really, really nice. It just depends what kind of tone of brown you like to use. Next, taking the suede lipstick. I can't recall the colour of this, but I will leave it linked down below the colour. I like using a slightly lighter colour because then when I'm going with my gloss, I like to use the NYX clear gloss. It gives it a colour to kind of layer over, and it just melts the lighter shade and the liner together, the lip pencil together really, really beautifully. And this is the finished look for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I love this look. It's been a long time since I fell in love with makeup like this, so I really hope you guys enjoyed it too, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.